Hello, everyone. This is Dawn, and I'm coming to you from downtown Pittsburgh. This podcast is the point where we are going to cover everything that you need to know about your wedding planning journey, everything from A to Z. I've been in the event space for over 30 years, and I've done corporate parties, private events, was you name it, up to 1,200 people or a backyard barbecue for 20. And today I want to do a continuation podcast on how to do your due diligence and vet your vendors. And I am going to continue on this journey and on this path until we stop seeing these fraudulent and bad actors trying to take advantage of the brides. There's a lot of misleading information, fraud happening, and it just saddens me. And I believe that someone needs to speak up and someone needs to be the voice for the community and say, hey, pause button. This is what you need to do. You're planning your wedding as far out as 24 months. You've got a long way to go. There's a lot of emotions involved, a lot of insecurities, uncertainty, and we want to help you navigate that. And we want your wedding day to be everything that you ever imagined that it could be. And we want to get those scammers and fraudsters and manipulators out of the equation. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I did a podcast 101 about 5 tips for shopping online when you are looking for vendors, whether it's day of vendors or wedding planner or photographer, makeup artist, florist, anyone that falls into that category. And there's a lot of independent actors out there that are working in the wedding industry. Pittsburgh, as I like to say, is a big, small town, and vendors will recommend vendors and venues will recommend vendors, and everybody wants to chime in with their recommendation. However, at the end of the day, it's the couple's responsibility to do their own due diligence and vet those vendors. And I'm going to give you a couple tips here. I believe I've got 5 tips here for you on how to begin that process. You found someone, you like them, you like everything that they're showing, everything that they're saying, and you're ready to book them, but you need some validation that you're making a wise choice here. And you're going to start, number 1, I'm going to tell you to go to the SOS. The Secretary of State is a government website where you can verify any business, whether they're a DBA, an LLC, a corporation, an S Corp, or a C Corp. They have to be registered with the state of Pennsylvania in order to be a business entity with a business name in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You would go to the SOS site, type in their name, and that's going to show you the name of the owner, their address, all the information about the business, when they registered, how long they've been in business. And it's so critically important for you to do this and check. And I will say, just as a caveat here, not everyone's going to be registered with the Secretary of State. Some people, like photographers, are going to act as a doing business as and file their taxes and tax returns and everything in their own name. But the majority of businesses, if they have a business brand or a business name, they should be registered with the SOS. Also, any of your people that are serving alcohol, all your bar catering, your makeup artists, any caterers, anyone that requires a special license granted to them in order to provide services has to be listed with the SOS. And I'm going to repeat that, has to be, because they have to have the licensing to do that. So for your makeup artist, for your bar servers and or your catering team, make sure you go to the SOS, make sure that they're registered, and especially those makeup artists, make sure they have the appropriate license to do your makeup. And that could turn into a hot mess, right? Everybody with a brush thinks they're a makeup artist. But moving on to when you register your business with the SOS, that gives you some validation. You have a street address, the name of the business, who owns the business. It also enables you to be able to open a business bank account. So when you're writing a check to somebody, if you're writing that check to, Emmy Photo Booth, then I can deposit that check into the business account for Emmy Photo Booth. If I do not have a business account because I didn't register with the state, then I'd probably be telling you, hey, can you write the check to Don Takacs? Because technically I'm calling myself by this business name, but I don't have an SOS filing and I do not have a business bank account. Again, I'm going to say some photographers can operate, or some individuals can operate under their own name and not necessarily be registered with the state, although they should be. And if you do not find them on the SOS, then you should be asking them for a certificate of insurance. A certificate of insurance protects you, it protects the venue, it protects the other vendors in case there's a slip and fall scenario and somebody is suing somebody, right? And on that certificate of insurance, it's going to list the business name, it's going to list the name of the owner, and it is also going to list their physical address. And I keep coming back to that physical address because if things go ugly with your vendor that you've hired, and for some reason they start ghosting you, or they're a no-show on your wedding day, or they deliver the wrong cake to the wrong address, whatever the scenario could be, that physical address is your only way to connect with them and to get any kind of appeasement or refund, or even file a complaint with the state because you have a physical address on them. If you only connect with them in a digital capacity via email and DM and what have you, you have no way to find them. So it's very important. SOS, Secretary of State, government website, easy to find, and also ask for that certificate of insurance. Anybody that works in the wedding space that does not have a certificate of insurance or have liability insurance for their business is not a business. They may not even be a side gig worker. Like anyone that goes into a building and represents themselves as working in the event space without insurance might as well be jumping out of an airplane without a parachute, because anything can happen. And I've seen it happen. I've been around long enough to know that bad things happen at events, things that you don't expect, and you need that certificate of insurance. And I think they're jeopardizing more than themselves if they don't have one. So if someone says they don't have one, I would say, okay, thank you very much. And I would move on to the next candidate. I also want you to look at that listing on the SOS and their COI. And you have both of these. If they're listed on both the government website as well as their certificate of insurance, make sure the name of the person that owns the business is one and the same as the person that you're talking to, because there's a lot of craziness out there. And there's a lot of people that, they're saying that they own this business, but then actually the person communicating you was a different name. And, I don't know. It's kind of sketchy, man. If it smells bad, it usually is. And I would be super cautious of that. And if there's a different name, I understand if they got married and their last name changed, but if their first name is different than the name that's listed, I would say, hey, why? What's up with that? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy that people change their names at a drop of a hat. I want you to avoid this one scenario. You've checked the COI, you've checked for their insurance, and you have verified the names and everything. And then you go to these wedding websites and you're checking their reviews, and you see that they have the best of this, or city awards, or the stamp of approval from another website. And I'm telling you guys, there's so much that you do not know about that you need to know. First of all, those wedding websites, when you win best of, they ask the vendors to, at the end of October, to go get 5 people to write a review for them so that they can win best in their category. They don't compete with another company. There's no, I won 5, this one won 10, this one won 20, this guy won 100, so he's best up. No. All you have to do is do 5. There's 52 weeks in a year, but you only have to get 5 reviews to be best of. That is so disingenuous. It is so misleading to the public. And the vendors, we know it, but you don't know it. And so the city awards and the best of the city and all that crap, they send me an email and they say, you know what? You've won. You're best of for the year. We're going to send you a badge. And I'm all excited. I'm oh, yay, I won city's best. It's going to cost you $300. I won, but it's going to cost me $300. Okay. And then let's talk about the stamp of approval. And I'm going to just call that one out too. It's bullshit, because unless you are actually the person who signed the contract and you see the services that were requested and the services that were delivered, and that they're one and the same, and that the communication thread, and there were no faux pas, there were no appeasements, there were no shifts, there were no changes, no headaches along the way, unless you are the person that paid them, I call bullshit. Stamp of approval means nothing. And that's why we don't have them on our website. We have what we call a verified business. I verified they're on the SOS. They are a registered business. They have a certificate of insurance. They have a good online reputation. But I in no way, fashion or form, endorse them because the Elvis theory. That's right. I said Elvis. He was the king, right? Elvis was the king of everything. He rocked. He was suave. He had swag. He was charming and charismatic. And he was an amazing performer. And just like Elvis, we're performers. We show up on your wedding day. We give it our all. We put our smiles on our faces no matter what's happening in our lives. And we create beautiful florals and settings and set the tables and line them with flowers. And we do the mic check and we check the music and we deliver the cake and we make sure it's beautiful. We're performers. We perform for your wedding day. But just like Elvis, he was great. He had this magnetism about him, right? Like he was like the epitome specimen of a male. And these women just adored him. But then in the 70s, and as the years progressed, he fell from grace. It was really sad. I know most of you aren't old enough to remember Elvis, but I remember my mom watching him in the 70s and she's like, oh, yeah, Elvis. And all I remember was seeing was somebody that had a hard time just even basically standing or singing. Just fell from grace. Life got in the way. Things got in the way. Drugs, alcohol, whatever. And I'm not saying that that's the people that are in our field. What I'm saying is that when you're booking someone for your wedding and it's 6, 12, 24 months out and you expect them to perform based on a review that you read that's 2 years old, that's a 4-year gap time. A lot of things can happen. People have babies, they have passings, they lose jobs, they move, they have, we're in the middle of a financial crisis right now with the economy. So many things can and will impact how they perform on your wedding day. And it's so important for you to get good, current reviews and information so that you can make wise choices for your wedding. Underscore unequivocally how vitally important that is for you. Do not assume that when you go to a website and they have all those badges, all those pretty badges, and all those pretty best of awards, that is an endorsement that you should trust. And I say this from the bottom of my heart because it's misleading. It's misrepresentation. And in some cases, it's out and out fraud. I know people that have all those badges on their website that were no-shows to brides, that ghosted brides, that wouldn't even return their phone call. There are some really bad things happening in our industry right now, and the only credible resource that you have that you should go to get the information you need to make wise decisions on booking your vendors is by going straight to the couples. Ask any vendor that you're interested in booking, can you please give me 3 emails of the most recent weddings that you've done? This year, 2025, a wedding that they did in 2020 is not relevant to me. It means nothing because you're only as good as your last performance. And you may have fallen from grace. It's the Elvis theory. And this is why I tell people, I'm like, I love to refer people. I love my friends. I want to work with my friends. You want to work with your friends. Everybody wants to work with their friends. But at the end of the day, I honestly don't know. Did they deliver exactly what was contracted? Were there any problems along the way? I don't know the answer to that, if I'm being honest. And I'll give you another honesty. There are people in this industry that I would have recommended 2 years ago that there's no way in hell, can I say hell? There's no way in heck that I would recommend them today. Not even a slight chance, because I know now what I didn't know then, or I've seen them fall from grace. I've seen that they were once great, or I thought they were great because they're really good at marketing. But then I worked with them and I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to recommend these people. That stated, this conversation on our podcast, The Point, is all about the brides. I'm here for you. To me, is so important. I am getting messages constantly from brides that are being burned by makeup artists, by DJs, by hairstylists, by florists, by photographers, by videographers. People are taking their money and just gone, just disappeared. And it's not anyone on my website because I've vetted all my vendors. I know how to find them and how to hold them accountable if I need to. Because our group is public, It's open to anybody to see it anywhere. Any group on Facebook, for that matter, is public. Anyone can hack your Facebook. Anybody can get into any group that they want. Anyone can DM a bride. Anyone can mislead you into believing that there's someone that they're not. And, that's just the world today. You have to realize that the world is a dangerous place and you have to be savvy smart. And you're going to be a wife and you're going to be a husband or you're going to be a spouse, a soonly-wed, a newlywed. And it's your responsibility. It's a big R, the big word. It's your responsibility to take care of your family and protect your budget. And you need to take that to heart when you're planning your wedding. Do not take anyone's referral, whether it be a website or a person. Do not take anyone's referral at face value. We have a bad habit of doing that these days. We just read everything and we think, oh, well, this person referred them. I'm good to go. I'm just going to go with them. No. Do your due diligence. Oh, they have the stamp of approval. They have the seal. They have the best of. No, it's up to you. You need to double check. You need to do a little bit of investigative work. Go dive into those reviews. How old are they? When was the last review? Go to some other places, not those wedding sites, like maybe Yelp or Google. Ask for those emails so that you can reach out to the couples directly and do a Zoom call. Get on the phone. Look them in the eye when you're talking to them. I have a list of critical questions that you can ask your vendor and a letter that you can send them. It is so important for you to get to know your vendors for your wedding day. Do not think that your entire wedding is digital and you can just do it all, with a couple clicks on your phone, because it is a personal experience. And because human behavior is involved, and we know sometimes humans can behave badly, it's so important for you to get to know your vendors and get on the line with them. I mean, this is something that has compelled me to write and do 2 podcasts, not just 1, but 2. And I think there's a 3rd one coming, because we know what you don't know, and we see what you don't see. And there is a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of misleading information. There's a lot of bad actors. And let me tell you something. When you're dealing with somebody online, you are opening yourself up to cha-ching, 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 cha-ching out of your bank account and being left holding the bag to fix the problem that this vendor started because you didn't vet them properly. I'm going to give you a list in the show where you can download this letter to send to your vendors so that you can ask them some very important questions when you do a Zoom call with them. And I want you to get them on the horn. I want you to look at them, and I want you to, above all else, trust your gut and really get to know your vendors and, get a vibe for them and listen to your instincts above all else. If something feels a little bit off with your vendor and your gut is telling you, well, maybe, that maybe is a warning sign. Listen to it. Pay attention. There's plenty of talent in the city of Pittsburgh. There's amazing vendors in the city. Do not settle for, well, no. Make sure that you have someone that's going to show up. They're going to outperform for you on your wedding day. Here's the reason why you want to be really careful with the vendors that you choose, because at the end of the day, they have your back. If something goes wrong, I don't know how many times my husband and I were moving chairs for a wedding and the whole audience, because it started to downpour rain, or we were hanging signs, or my husband was running the store to get batteries for someone, and this is not even in our circle or workflow of what's expected of us or what we do, but we did it because that's what good vendors do. When the unexpected happens, good vendors will step up to solve the problem, and they'll work in tandem with each other to make sure that the wedding day is picture perfect. And above all else, remember that we live in a society where we're oversaturated with content, and we have a tendency to believe everything that we see and read, and we shouldn't. We should be precautionary. It's our day. We should be protecting it with everything that we have, and a little due diligence, SOS, COI, make sure that the names match, that everything connects all the dots together, and then ask for those referrals. 3, it's not too much to ask a vendor to give you the referrals of the 3 most recent weddings. I mean, right now in this year that we're in, not weddings from 2 years ago. And ignore those badges. They're meaningless. They have absolutely no merit and no value. And for my friends out there that work really hard to get those reviews, I love all of you, and I know that you work hard to get those reviews. But at the end of the day, I do think that the system is manipulated and it's misleading. And I think that it really puts our brides in jeopardy of being taken advantage of by people that would abuse the system. I'm not going to say that 200 reviews by a makeup artist, and I have a good friend that has plenty, like that those reviews are not authentic reviews. What I'm saying is that it's not best of if you only have to win 5 reviews out of 52 weeks in a year. Like, that's insane crazy. Or that you have to pay $300 for a badge, or you're a subscriber to a website so you have a stamp of approval. No, none of that. That's all crap, right? Like, when you get down to the heart of the matter, it's your job to do your due diligence. And I'm going to keep coming back to this. At the end of the day, all those badges, all of those awards, all those best of, it's just noise. It's just marketing. It's just fluff. There's no authentication behind any of that. It can all be misleading. Even those badges, they get hijacked from one website to another to somebody who's not even a member of that website, right? It's the internet, for crying out loud. And so this is why I want to say to you, please protect your budget for your wedding. Protect your family. Money that you spend that you didn't intend to spend goes out the door and at the sacrifice of something that you really wanted. And so it's your job. It's your job. And no one else is accountable. If that wedding planner recommended a DJ to you and they burn you and ghost you and take off with your money, that wedding planner's not going to give you their money back. They're going to say, I'm sorry, I didn't know. If a venue recommends you to somebody because they worked with them one time and they liked them or a couple times, and that person takes your money and, goes MIA, they're not going to give you your money back. Nobody's going to give you your money back that referred you. I guarantee you that. Nobody is going to say, hey, we recommended them, so here's your money back. That's never going to happen because it's your responsibility. Even if you find them on Pittsburgh Brides, you should be asking them for referrals. And that's how adamant I am about this, is that even if you find vendors on Pittsburgh Brides, you should still be asking them, I need 3 emails of recent contracts this year, 2025. May I please have them so that I can contact them to get some feedback on you as a vendor for my wedding? Do you mind? And if you ask them that in a Zoom call and they hesitate, that would make me say, okay, next, let's move on. And with that, I have some great conversations coming up with some amazing brides that are sharing their stories with us, and some pros that are going to give us tips, tricks, and insights on how we can save time, money, and energy. I am so thrilled to have you a part of our community, Pittsburgh Brides, 7 years going on, 8 years strong. And together we win this thing. Together we beat some of these scam artists, and we beat some of these disingenuous people and people that try to manipulate the system. And I'm here for you. I'm here for the brides. This is all about the brides. It always has been. We're not here to impress anyone. We're not here to tell you what your wedding looks like. We're not here for you if your wedding is a certain dollar amount. Like, if your wedding is $3,000 in your backyard, I'm here for you. And if you need insight on anything, you contact me. My door is always open. I'm here to have fresh eyes on a situation and help our brides. And I want you to know that I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, it really burns me when brides message me and tell me that someone has taken advantage of them, because there's so many talented people out there that deserve your work and deserve to earn that money. And it burns me that there's a few bad actors out there that are exploiting the situation and intentionally, in some cases, deceiving people. And I don't want that to be you. So that being said, make sure to check out our website. I've got a great blog post about vetting your vendors. Go to that podcast 101, and that'll get you started on when you're shopping online, shopping for your vendors. Go directly to the government website, uspa.gov. Search in Google Secretary of State, and it should pull right up for you. Begin your search there, or I'll drop the link in the show notes. And with that, I'm going to sign off. If you got any value out of this video, or this podcast, I would ask that you would please subscribe, hit the like, share with your friends. Thank you, Pittsburgh and beyond, I should say. All right, I'm out of here. Bye now.